Yeah, so sometimes you have to say hard things. And I think a lot of times people struggle with saying hard truths because people think that hard truths are mean truths, and mean and hard are not the same thing. And I think just really simple um, clarification helps people. And I think that's something that we're working on is not taking things that are said in truth and thinking that they're mean or thinking that they're like attacks or thinking that they're someone being snarky when it really is just a simple truth. And so I think we want to help people say hard things and do hard things and have hard conversations without it being mean or being misunderstood or misrepresented. And that's what we're going to talk about today in the living room. Welcome back to the living room, where we're having real conversations, hopefully for all the spaces that you're living in. And I think this is a space a lot of people live in, right? Where there are conversations that are misunderstood, misrepresented. Yeah, and I think it creates a lot of unnecessary stress, unnecessary tension, unnecessary drama. And I think that's something that we're still kind of working through, right?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming back. We love you guys. I think in the 20 years that we've been married, it's definitely been a learning process on how to say hard things. Because a lot of times we filter anything that might feel uncomfortable, even if it's the truth, as mean. And it could be just past experiences. That's the filter you view everything with. You don't give the person the benefit of the doubt that they're just trying to maybe better your life. It just comes off as like, oh, you're just really mean. And I thought you loved me just the way I was.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree that it's past experiences. I think so just sometimes it's people are just lazy. They're lazy and in wanting to go the extra mile. I know that sounds really harsh to say, but we're talking about hard truths, right? I think sometimes what I mean by lazy is that it takes hard work. It takes commitment. It takes effort to give benefit of doubt. It takes effort to look past just our filters and look past our knee-jerk thoughts and look past our lower level functions of insecurity or lower level functions of just preconceived notions, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and so you'll take a nonverbal cue and use that as a total judgment of what's being said. And what's hard is that I think there's a thing where it's not just having hard conversations. I think it's also learning to, or not. I think the way I'm trying to say it, Diana, is it's not just about learning how to say hard things, but it's also, I think, learning how to hear hard things. It goes back and forth, right?
For sure.
And I think that's the thing where it really is this careful dance on the assumptions we make about each other, I think the prejudices we have towards each other.
Even the insecurities that you live with, you'll hear things, just very differently.
Yeah. And I think all of that creates a bias with which how you receive communication, you give communication, right? So so I think like for us, there's currently a thing where, I'm saying one thing, my face is shaped in another way, and you take it like super like, why are you doing that? Why are you being, and I think that's something that we're working through. And I'd love to work through it a little bit with you on camera, right? Like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to make my face look like what my words are saying.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I'm trying to figure out like, man, we've been in this 21 years, man. Like, when do I get the benefit of the doubt that I'm not out here trying to be mean and nasty and ugly? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I think that's a real thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, I think sometimes, a lot of the times I can and I should. It's not can. I should give you the benefit of the doubt. It's just your face is facing. And it's so hard to see your face when your words don't match your face. So it's very confusing. But I am learning that if I'm in an emotional state, I cannot give you the benefit of the doubt. And it does have some to do with you because it's your face, but it has more to do with my emotional state and where I'm at. So I can't regulate myself and give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm already emotional. So if I'm emotional, I can't calm myself down to give you the benefit of the doubt. So it definitely goes both ways. It's not just your face.
Okay,
It's
so
also my emotional state.
yeah, I love this because this may be one of the first times we process real time on camera. Because this has been a real tension for us. So welcome to the living room, man. It's not just always like, bubbles and butterflies, right? Sometimes it's real friction. And that's been a
It
thing.
blows and I'm just kidding. I
Yeah,
was
okay,
talking
yeah.
about the bees. Sorry.
But anyway, yeah, I think there's a real thing, right? Like where like I hear what you're saying. But if I'm just gonna be straight up, I think it's a cop out. I think it's, at any given moment, we have to control ourselves. We have to govern ourselves well. So like, and what I'm saying is that not just that you're copping out, but like I'm copping out, right? Was like, well, it's just my face, right? Well, no, bro, like fix your face, bro. Like, be aware, like have some awareness in the moment.
Because I've seen you do it before.
Yeah,
And the same
right,
with me.
right. Well,
Because
here's the
I've
thing.
been very calm when your face says something else, and I can just take a deep breath and say, hey, can you explain that to me again? Or can you say that one more time?
Yeah.
So I can.
Yeah, I think the hard truth is this, right? Where it's like, so like for me, I have a staff, I have places I lead, and then we have a lot of volunteers that do work with us. And are there times where like volunteers and people that aren't in my private space engage with me in a way where it's just like, ooh, I want my face to look like it? 100%. But I don't do it, right? And for some reason, I'm able to control myself there. I'm able to like really lock it in and be able to say hard things, and I'm able to say them with a smile, and I'm able to say them gentle and tender. And then for some reason, in my private space, I tend to become, I think it's lazy, right? Where it's just like, no, this is the path of least resistance. I'm just going to get it off my chest. I'm just going to say it, and I'm not even going to give it any type of treatment, or I'm not going to give it any type of intentionality. And I think before we even get into like, hey, how do you say a hard thing, or how do you listen to a hard thing? I think really it's like, man, at base layer, it's what are the fundamental aspects of respect and courtesy we give each other, right? Because if it's like, well, I'm going to say a hard thing, but I'm going to say it in a hard way because that's just the way it is and the way I am. Right? I really do think that's a cop out.
No, I agree. Well, I think psychology studies talk about how the person that you're closest to is the person that gets like mistreated the easiest or the most, just because that's where you quote unquote feel safe.
Wow.
That's where you know that if you keep messing up or keep slipping up, they're gonna be there to love you. They're not probably gonna, especially.
No, especially what? Sorry.
No, especially if you have somebody that is like more docile, like they're not gonna fight back, or even if they do, it doesn't phase you as hard. And that I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's the research.
That's human nature, right? That's what it is. Right, but if we're looking at what just is typical human behavior, right? Which that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Typical human behavior is I'm going to be my rawest, truest form, which at times is unfiltered, it's unrefined, it's unintentional, it's dishonorable, it's undisciplined, it's lazy. If that's typical human behavior, well, then it's no wonder that typical human behavior is also 7 out of 10 marriages end in divorce.
That's right.
Right? Like, because if we're just going to go the way of typical human behavior, then we're just going to get typical human results.
Right. Because you are unwilling to do the hard work of discipline, of respect, of giving your partner the best of you and not just whatever comes out of you.
Yeah.
And it's hard work.
Yeah. No, it really is, right? It's not complicated work. I say this all the time to people. I share this. I'm sharing this with our girls, right? Some of the things that you'll do, some of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life aren't going to be the most complicated, right? They're actually pretty simple. They're just hard to do. It's hard to deny yourself, right? It's hard to deny yourself the instant gratification or the shallow gratification of, I'm just getting my emotions out, right? Because if I'm being honest with you, at times where I can come off snarky, or I react snarky, or I respond snarky, or I come say quote unquote a hard truth in a condescending way or in a, in a mean way or in a sharp way, that's not just the way I am. That's actually the way I cope. That's the way I feel like I have control.
Right.
That's the way I feel like, well, you're going to hear me no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. And again, that's just really low level functioning.
Yeah. I think people that have actually gone through therapy can self-regulate pretty much or get to where they need to be faster. The reason I feel like we've taken forever is because we've never gone to therapy. So we've had to really learn as we go. And
Sure.
that is definitely the slower path.
Sure. Yeah, no, I understand. I think if I can just add a little bit of, and I hope it doesn't come off obnoxious, but right. But if I can add a little bit of just spice to what you just commented on, that observation is absolutely true. When you go to therapy, you get more elevated, elegant methods. But it still requires a decision.
No, it does, and it requires
in,
work.
In the kind of work I do, and I mean, you're involved in what we do together. There's a lot of people who have clocked a lot of hours of therapy, and they just don't make the decision.
Yeah, you're right.
I
was thinking of the ones that actually do the work.
No, yeah. Know what I'm saying? It's not everybody, right? No, I just want to add that because therapy doesn't make it automatic.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
no.
now, therapy helps you take quantum leaps. It helps you move forward,
Right.
right? If you're willing to do the work, right? And so, like in the dynamic with you and I, right? Like I'm at a point where, yeah, okay, I'm. Okay, I don't like you. I don't like hearing it, right? I don't. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like hearing it. Like, well, I can't. What I'm about to say is that I don't like hearing you, right? I don't like hearing you. Like, well, I can't hear you past your face, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, get past my face, bro.
I know, and I wish I could. And
Well, here's the thing though. Like, you don't have to.
I'm like, okay,
right?
talk now. I'll keep my eyes closed. No, I feel like sometimes maybe that's why. I mentioned this to you the other day, and you kind of got offended.
Right? Yes, I don't like what you're about to say.
Okay.
No. I want you to say
Okay.
it. It's honest. I just don't like it. I don't like that. That's a reality for you and I currently. No. You have to say it. Like, well, I promise you, this is helping people. It's helping me just process out loud with you.
I don't know why your face is such a big deal to when
Because look at me, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How could this not be a big deal to you?
Yeah, it is.
Oh God, stop.
I just feel like sometimes like I would rather text you a hard truth because I don't have to see your face.
Sure.
Reaction.
Sure.
And typically when we have text conversations, they're very thorough. They're very to the point, and like we can get our point across, and that's it. It's solved. But sometimes I think when we're in person, I'm emotional for some reason with your face, and I can't get past your face. So, and it takes you a lot of work to fix your face. So I'm like, we are wasting so much time when we could have just been done.
Yeah.
But I do think it's something we both have to work through.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a degree of, again, look, we started this episode with the intention of talking about how do I deliver and receive hard truths? How do I have a hard conversation? Because you have to have the hard conversations. How do I confront?
Hard conversations will come with any relationship.
Anything that's meaningful is going to require hard conversations, right? But I actually really like where we've landed, because we've landed at the foundation of any conversation, not just hard conversations, any conversation. And the truth is I'm becoming more and more aware of my face. Like I talk for a living, right? Like 80% of what I do requires me speaking. And so I understand human dynamics. I understand communication.
And how nonverbal communication is also communication.
Is major. And I understand that. Well, that's actually that. Okay. Well, I read an article recently that's actually a fallacy where they say, well, here's the fallacy that 93% of communication is nonverbal. That's not even close to being true.
I'm not saying it's 93%. I'm saying it's a part of communication.
Well,
but not that high.
At the same time, and I'm not trying, I promise I'm not trying to be snarky or a smart aleck.
Okay.
Right?
I can take it.
But at the same time, as much as, yes, nonverbals, so is the capacity of the person across from you their ability to receive and their preconceived notions and what they bring to the table. And one of the things that were I try to I think when this becomes a heated thing between me and you, in the moments, right? So like first of all, this is gonna sound mad defensive and mad toxic, right? But whatever. I don't think it's toxic, but it's gonna sound super defensive. Like it's not like we're always at each other's throats, right? However, I will say this, that the most common place where we have friction recently is this, right? Is like, bro, your face doesn't match your words. And then I'm like, yeah, girl, but like, trust our rapport. Like, dude, I've been rocking with you for 27 years, girl. Give me the benefit of the doubt, you know?
But I think when you're saying, okay, about the nonverbal, I think emotion, attachment has a lot to do with how you process nonverbal communication.
I don't understand what that means.
Because somebody who isn't, obviously another person that isn't married to you, and you make certain faces, like they're not going to take it the same way as I am. Just the same if you're going into like a job interview.
Yeah, I get
that. The person on the other side of the table can be totally nonverbal, and you think, oh, I did great on this
I understand
interview.
that. I understand that.
A lot of our dynamic is because there's emotion attached to it.
Well, there's experience. Would you say it's the same thing? I think there's experience attached to it, and then there's emotions that have been experienced, right there, or that have come out of the different experiences, right? Because like I'm thinking about it right now, right? So like I absolutely talk with my face, not my mouth, like for real. I'm trying to do a better job of having a better poker face, but I typically will wear my feelings on my face. But at the same time, though, like I was thinking about this the other day because you and I had this type of a conversation the other day, and I just thought, yeah, but you know what? My confused face almost looks the same as my mad face.
Yeah, and that's where I'm trying to decipher. Okay, so is he looking at me like I'm dumb, or is he confused? So that's where I feel like if my emotions are regulated and under control, then I can be like, hey, are you confused, or do you need me to clarify something? Now I can ask questions.
So let me ask you this question, because maybe now we can start getting into and moving into a little bit of the nitty gritty on receiving and giving hard conversations or
Truths, hard truths.
Yeah, right, like those tense talks. Welcome to my tense. Thanks for coming to my tense talk, right? But
my neck is getting tense.
Which like for me, it's my question becomes this, right? Like, why does it have to be like a specifically optimal emotional environment or situation where it's like, man, like emotionally I'm just not regulated, so I'm going to give you the edgy version of me, not the regulated version of me. Like, at which point do you just say, regardless of my emotional state, I need to behave in a way that's honorable or in a way that's just reasonable?
Well, I do definitely think that's an elevated self and self-awareness to where you're like, okay, it doesn't matter how I'm feeling. I'm going to choose to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
But most of us are not there yet. But I do think you get there. Like I've talked to like people who've been married like 30, 40 years, and they're there. They're chilling. They're
I wonder if they're just tired. I give up. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
it could be. It definitely could be. But I do think it has a lot to do with your maturity and your willingness to put down your pride. It's a lot of self-denial. So you have to be in that mindset of like, no, I am intentionally, actively gonna do this for the rest of my life.
Sure. I think as we're processing through it, what I want to submit for all of our consideration is this, that the only way to have and receive hard conversations and tough truths is with love. Right? That's what the scriptures teach. That's what St. Paul teaches. And he tells his young protege, right? He tells Timothy, who's a developing adult, a developing leader, etc. But he says, speak the truth with love, right? So I think there's a lot there, right? Because sometimes we just tell the truth, but we don't tell it with love, right? And so
Yeah.
it's like, man, I'm just being real, I'm just being honest, I'm just, well, you know, this is just me, and it's like, well, no, it's not. It's you out of control,
Yeah,
or
it's
it's
you with your
you.
emotions driving.
Yeah. You know, I don't know why I feel like I want to resist and push back against just generalizing it to emotions, because sometimes it's apathy and sometimes it's
And that's an
indifference.
emotion.
I think apathy is a decision where I just don't care. I don't know if that's emotion necessarily. That's a decision. I think you reach apathy after a series of negative emotions, right? Sometimes it's undisciplined. Sometimes it's
I hear you. Okay.
does that make
Yeah,
sense?
just
Right?
lazy.
Because
Like I
because
refuse to level up. Like
yeah,
period. Like I don't
yeah. I
care
refuse to do the
who
hard
you
work.
are. I don't care what you do. Like I refuse to level up.
Right.
I think part of showing each other love, especially in the early stages, is giving yourself an optimum place and even playing field to have the hard conversations. Because when you haven't done the hard work of leveling up, right? Especially maybe the first 5 years of marriage. And you're like, no, we're just gonna hash it out right now. Well, that never worked for us. Because when we tried to hash it out right then and there, it just blew up even worse.
Yeah, it was an immovable object meets an unstoppable force, right?
Right.
Is what it was. We were both obstinate and stubborn and smart,
Right. And we
immature,
both wanted to be right.
and we both wanted to be
And
right.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, but to tell that truth in love or with love, we decided to create an optimal place, an optimal situation for us to be able to share these hard truths. What does that mean? That means we created a safe environment. It was a calm environment. We were both calm. We both came to the table knowing, hey, we're going to talk about this.
Sure.
Are you fed? Have you slept? Like now we can have a grown-up conversation.
Okay. This is the second episode in a row where it really matters sleeping and feeding. I think that's so interesting.
Well,
That's so quick in your limbic system, like you're right, like, and you're ready to share that. That's which I'm not. This it's not a knock. I think it's really it's key. You're hangry. You're tired.
I mean, it's because we forget the basics. And when you forget the basics, it's like you start flinging chanclas or you start flinging emotions all over, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, have you eaten? Let's start there.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, where we started when we started talking about, okay, how do we share these hard truths with one another and come to an understanding? We created an environment to be able to handle those hard truths.
Yeah, I think as we're inviting all of our crew into our living room, one of the things that I wish that I had done more intentionally, if I'm just going to kind of go with the metaphor that you're using of eating and sleeping, right? Now I'm not talking actual food. What I'm talking about is like, what have you been feeding yourself, right? So like, there are many of us who our reactions come from feeding ourselves things that are true in experience, but maybe not true in fact, right? And so like, sometimes we feed our insecurities. And we'll feed our angers and we'll feed our grudges. We'll feed our need for things being done our way, right? So sometimes we rush people, we pressure people, right? And so I think
that was totally me at the beginning.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was I was just I became, when I was younger, at times I was contrary, and just for the sake of being contrary. It's like, oh, is that what you really want? Cool, because I'm not going to give you that, And so I was petty, So like it came from a place of pettiness, or whatever it is. And so I think that as you're processing this, yes, make sure your physical nutrition and your sleep is great. That's super important. But also like be mindful, right? Be mindful of the self-talk. Be mindful of the assumptions you bring, the presuppositions that you bring into these conversations, right? Because I think one of the things that we're learning to do well is when we create safe spaces, we're also creating and bringing into those safe spaces the appropriate mindsets and the appropriate perspectives. This girl is on my side.
Yeah, that's it.
She has had my daughters. She has loved me and supported me 21 years she's put up with me. Diana is not the enemy, right? There's a statement that we have that we use all over the place in our life, right? But like, as I'm thinking about our safe spaces, it's like, look, we may have enemies out there, but none of them are in here right now, right? Diana is not my enemy. Diana is my partner. She's the love of my life. She's the person I've given my vows to. Now, if that has not changed, then I need to bring all of those presuppositions into this conversation we're about to have.
Yeah, I think that's so good because your belief system is so important in these conversations. Because if you come in, like you said, thinking the opposite, you're ready to fight because you're already fighting with me in your head.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, and I think that's a great point. We all do that, right? How many of us have done that? Like we're like, we'll just be sitting in our office at work or in our car on the drive home, and we know there's a hard conversation that's pending, and it's probably gonna go ding, 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 fighter ready. You know what I mean? Like, the moment you walk through your house or your garage or whatever, and you're already like, you're giving your Botox person job security, right? Because you're like scowling on your drive because you're wargaming, right? You're going through all the scenarios, and you're just like, and if she says this, I'm gonna say this, and she'll probably say this, and I'm gonna say this, and boom, 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 boom. And here's the crazy thing, right? All of that exists in what the Word of God and what the Bible calls your heart. And the heart is the place where your emotions, your thinking, and your decision-making exists, right? So all of that happens in your heart. And if that is present in your heart, all that pre-fighting and all that wargaming and all those, I've got something for every scenario, man. Every scenario, the scripture says this. Well, let me say it this way: if you come in with that kind of attitude, you've already failed. Like, just don't even have the conversation. Go home and lay down, go in a different room, watch a movie, go eat dinner by yourself. Because here's the thing, nothing good is going to come of that conversation, because the scripture says from the abundance of the heart, the mouth is going to speak. So your mouth is going to betray what has been brewing in your heart, right? And so if that's what's in your heart, don't think something different is going to come out of your mouth. So whatever you intend to come out of your mouth, whether it's a hard truth or whether it's a confrontational moment, let the condition of your heart essentially frame and filter and form the way that thing comes out of your mouth.
Right. And I think sometimes it might still not come out right.
Well, there's no right way to do a hard thing sometimes. Well, no, I'm wrong. There is a right way to do a hard thing. And I'm going to come back to what Paul said. Speak the truth. It's hard. It's hard to share truths. Even after 21 years, it's hard to share truths. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you guys an example, right? Like, I think you do know this, but like, so there's this weird thing that happens after you talk for 3 hours, which, on a Sunday or whenever I speak to our church, or if I'm speaking to other churches on the road, your mouth gets dry, things happen, blah, blah, blah. So you get breath, right? Like your breath is kicking. And so then Diana, if she's around me, will come and she'll just be like, she'll hand me a piece of gum and she'll be like, hey, you need this. And for some reason, that still hurts my feelings. It's ridiculous. I know. And I know you can tell I get a little edge, like, right? I get like just kind of indignant. And it's crazy because she does it because you're covering me, you're protecting me, you're caring for me, right? And so
in no way, shape, or form do I ever, would I ever think, oh, this is going to offend him. Let me go do this right now.
I want to humiliate you right now, right? So what I'm saying is that it's the condition of my heart and how I receive it as well,
I still want to know, why does that offend you?
I don't know.
And we've talked about it. And I'm like, look, I am not going to stop doing it because I would feel really bad for the person that you talk to or pray for, and then they have to smell your breath.
Yeah, no, one of the hardest truths is to tell someone that they smell.
Because to me, you always talk about, okay, the most hated person is a girl with lipstick on their teeth. You always say that.
Yeah. So
and
let me
the equivalent.
Yes. Let me do it justice. So the statement I make is the most hated person on the planet is the woman with lipstick on her teeth because no one loves her enough to tell her.
Right.
Right.
I feel like it's the exact same thing.
I don't disagree. I'm being honest about it. Just does something to me, right? So I need to be aware, right? I need to be aware, and I need to listen and receive with the ears of of what I believe about you, not just what I'm hearing you say, right? Now, in no way, shape, or form are we condoning disrespectful things. Like if you came
Or
and
bad breath.
you said it in a disrespectful way to me, like, oh my God, bro, like you always smell. What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Type
yeah.
of thing. Like, well, then that's like, what, for real? Right? But you do it so discreetly and you do it so like, so my whole point with that is that like that issue right there, that's me. I'm the problem, not you. That's me, right? And so I think that the way we give and receive hard truths is with love, right? And so Paul says it that way. He says, "Speak the truth, but speak it lovingly, and do it with love." And so then you have to ask the question, "What's love?" Right? 1 Corinthians 13. I always go to this, right? Love is patient, right?
Love
So if
is
I'm going to say a
kind.
hard truth, I have to say it with patience. If I'm going to say a hard truth, if I'm going to have a tense talk, love is patient, love is kind, right? The word kind literally means to seek good for the person,
Yeah.
right? Like, hey, if I'm going to say something, I'm going to make sure that this hard truth that I'm going to share with you actually leads to good. It leads to the good of our home,
Yeah.
to the good of our marriage, to
Yeah.
the good of our children and our family, to the good of the team that we're on together. If, maybe you're not married, but maybe you're a project manager, you serve on a team, or you're in a friend group, right? So we say the hard things for the sake of kindness.
Yeah. And the betterment of that person or that person's life or
Absolutely, for their good, right? So
their
this
good.
this hard thing that I'm about to say should lead to a greater good, right? Or you speak the truth and you keep no record of wrongdoing, right? So like this talk, yeah, you said this a couple of months ago and it stuck with me and I thought it was brilliant. You say you fight, but in one fight you have all the fights, and so one of the hard things for me, you've never done this to, I've always been grateful that you're this way. But I get the opportunity, and it really is a privilege. I consider it a privilege to do marriage counseling, a lot of marriage counseling. Not so much anymore. My role is a little bit different, but, and it's so interesting to me, like within the first 10 minutes of the session, right? And I'll say, hey, how can I help? And you can always tell who the hurt one is, right? And they'll just start and they'll say, well, this is what happened. Or I'll say something like, hey, what's your most significant pain point today? Right? Well, this is this and this and this, but it's because of this and this and this,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's this, and then in 2008, and then when we were dating his cousin, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, whoa, we're gonna fight all the fights, right? Yeah. And so you do it with no record of wrongdoing. Like there's a right way to do it. It's a hard thing. Yeah. It's hard to have hard conversations, right?
There's a level of maturity that you must have to say and hear hard truths for the betterment of the other person.
Sure.
It's not like it shouldn't be a selfish thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm not telling you this hard truth because it's just going to benefit me.
Right.
Right. I'm here to help benefit you, us, and everything you're a part of.
Yeah. I remember 2.5 years ago now when, excuse me, 2.5 years ago when you had to have a very hard conversation with me about my health. Right. And over the last 2 years, it's been a journey, but it was prompted by a hard conversation that you had with me, and I was out of control.
Yeah.
Right. I was.
But that's the thing. You always thought you were fine.
And I thought I was fine on multiple levels, right? I was like, man, I'm cute, chubby. I don't care, whatever.
Which is, and I never because even when I teach my girls, I don't talk to them about being like chubby, overweight. Like I don't use those words. It's all
Sure.
about your heart health and your lungs and the condition of how you want to live. And that's how I presented it to you. It has everything to do with comorbidities and how we're gonna live our lives.
Well,
But
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was gonna say kicking and screaming though. It was something hard, but like you rose to the occasion.
Well, I think the way you delivered it was very, very effective because you were very kind and you helped me see that hard truth and that hard conversation really was for the greater good of our family.
Yeah.
Right. At that point I wasn't a young man, maybe a little boy anymore. It's like, man, and it was, you didn't say it this way. But it was like, man, like it's not cute. It's not cute anymore. This is not funny.
Yeah.
It's not like, dude, like you should, like you can't be doing this because you're, you're at a certain age and we need you for a long time.
Yeah.
Our family needs you. Our daughters need you, etc. And I think it was very confrontational. It stung me for sure. But it provoked me in the best way.
Right. And I think it was great because I just made you the doctor's appointment. I showed up and I was pretty much talking the whole time. And I think during even that doctor's visit, you were kind of like, look, sir, I am knowledgeable about my health. My wife is just helping me out because, like, first of all, I don't want to be here. But I think that was something that you had to also be like, okay, I'm going to submit to this process because I know it's good for me and my whole family.
Yeah. And, I think for some of us who have a hard time hearing and receiving tough things, right? If you're an avoider, because some people are just avoid.
Right.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to see it.
Right.
If I don't look at my bank account, it doesn't exist.
I know, for real, right?
That's kind of like me.
Like where it's like, if, I avoid it, and whether you avoid it by sabotaging the conversations or avoid it by becoming overly emotional, so it becomes impossible for anyone to say anything, it's still avoidance. Or you become aggressive.
Yeah.
Right. And you get it's not even just defensive. You get super offensive. You get offended and you just like.
Nobody can talk to you.
And either way, however we approach it, the truth that we engage with is supposed to change us and free us. Right. And if it's impossible for people to have tough truth talks with us, man, I would venture to say that it's hard to ever expect change or growth or maturity, right? So anyway, I think this was an effective conversation. It helped me see some things the way I need to see them.
I think it's a good self-evaluation place to even be right now and be like, okay, do I allow people to have hard conversations with me? And if not, like, why? Like, and if you're happy with your life the way it is, okay, cool. But most of us really should want to evolve and grow. And the only way to do that is to have hard, uncomfortable conversations, just like going to the gym and picking up heavier weight or doing something that is resistance to you to build that muscle.
Absolutely. We need it. We need the truth.
Set us free.
And the truth sets us free, man. For real. It's the truth that you know and the truth that you receive. Yeah. That was helpful. Good talk, babe.
Good talk.
I appreciate that. Hey, gang. I hope that was helpful for y'all. Love y'all. Grateful that you're here. Thanks for rocking with us. I say it every episode.
We can record it.
No, it means the world to us if when you subscribe to the channel,
yes,
when you leave us comments, when you turn on the bell notification. Again, we drop often. Go follow us on Instagram if you're not already there. All the details are in the video description. But really, we're just really, really grateful that you're here. Thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully this helps you find a way to give and receive truth in the best way.
Amen. Peace.
I'm doing what you're doing. Love y'all. Peace.